Interdominion Pacing Championship started in Adelaide last night at Globe Derby Park. Off to an inauspicious start. The gap between races 1 and 2 is inexcusable. 1 hour and 10 minutes for an opening ceremony. Each race had to be put back a half an hour. Not good enough. Adam Hamilton was there. Adam, did it disrupt the meeting?
Oh, look, no question about that, Bruce. It was a real, I suppose it was a bad taste to start out the series. We were so looking forward to the start of the actual racing, and you know, there was comments made about how successful the opening presentation was, but let's face it, Bruce, people are there to see the racing, and if the presentation was going to be that long with all sorts of dances and parades and that sort of thing, then why not allow longer time in between the races to get it over and done with?
Yeah, they should have started at 4 o'clock perhaps. What did you think of Desperate Comment? A huge run in the first heat.
Absolutely tremendous runner. What can you say, Bruce? He seemed to treat them with utter contempt, his rivals. Going into the race, you'll see him here at this stage. He's racing outside the leader, yeah. Now in his new colours. He's in the Graham Lang colours he carries now, which is the blue with the orange helmet there. We're just looking for some of the other chances here. Young Mr. Charles, the defending champions, well back in the field there. He's 3 back on the fence. In front we've got Manaville, who was heavily back to win this heat, but you can see, just look at the ease with which Desperate Comment goes away with it, and Sovereign Hill's late finish down the outside.
Desperate Comment the leader, Sovereign Hill late, Manaville break, Elite Rena late, but Desperate Comment wins 2 metres, Sovereign Hill. It's a blanket finish for third. Elite Rena's...
Pretty soft on him too. Didn't belt him about in the run to the line, Desperate Comment. He's won almost $1 million. He now must be one of, well, he was one of the favourites anyway. He would have shortened up a little after that.
He's come in about a point or so, but I don't know what it is about the pre-post bookmakers. They just don't seem to have a lot of time for Desperate Comment. He's a 7-to-1 chance. You'd think after an easy win like that now, just leading up to the footage we showed you, he was 3 wide and 4 wide for most of the race up until he got outside the leader. So Graham Lang said after the race, with a big grin on his face, he's becoming a real character, Graham. He said, believe me, it felt as easy as it looked. So he's over the moon about this horse, and any suggestions that he won't get through the series have just been laughed off by Graham.
Second heat, Quantum Lobel went to the front. Heracles was back early. He made a quick run around and got to the death chair. So how did you assess this? We're going to pick them up down the back with Quantum Lobel in front of Heracles.
At the 600, and the front runner,
he really did look a star bet here, Quantum Lobel. He's a bit of an underrated horse going into this series. I think he's just about the one to beat in the final, Bruce. He got the lead very, very cheaply here, and Heracles, as you pointed out, Ricky May showed a bit of initiative and got around the field early. But watch these two fight it out over the finish. The only other horse I think you should watch is in behind the leader. That's the Suleiman, who doesn't have a lot of racing room. But I think down the straight, the important factor is that Heracles has asked for an effort here by Ricky May and can't respond, whereas Quantum Lobel absolutely jogs to the line, Bruce.
Heracles, then the Suleiman, Brian Hancock, the master again, and Quantum Lobel all the way. Quantum Lobel by 2 metres to Heracles.
Has such a great record at Hancock, doesn't he, at the highest level, and has won an Interdominion Pacing Championship in Adelaide. Just like Chris Lewis, a driver, won many years ago with a horse called Carclue. He then won with Rett's Law in Perth. He was on Norm's daughter. Now, she's only one of 2 mares in the whole lineup. One of your favourites. Good win last night.
Oh, she's certainly one of my favourites, no doubt about that. Her Hunter Cup run when she finished 7th after missing the start was an absolute slasher. And I thought it was a drive of real confidence from Chris Lewis last night. Just recently taken over the drive from the suspended Kelly Kersley. Norm's daughter's outside the leader, Rainbow Knight. Now, excuses for Rainbow Knight, who's probably the best South Australian hope. By that I mean he's owned in South Australia, trained now in New South Wales by Darren Binskin. But Rainbow Knight looked a little bit tubby going into the race, in need of the run. And the run of the race is incredibly. Anvil Star, that's him out 3 wide. So we've got in front Rainbow Knight, in the death seat outside the leader, Norm's daughter. And look at Anvil Star, who raced 3 wide the entire trip.
House of Ancelot can't get out to bet wide around. Norm's daughter in front though. Norm's daughter just in front, and Norm's daughter wins from Anvil Star, an enormous run.
Looking at the series last night, unless you're near the front, particularly in the short course races, you're going to have problems. So those at the back, when we get towards the final, are going to need a desperately fast pace, leaders to be taken on, I think, to have any chance to make ground late.
I agree with that. The track's really not conducive to horses getting home hard, not when we get to this class of race, because even perhaps some of the lesser performed horses in this series can still run very good times, and if you've got to give them a 2.5 start, you can forget about winning. I think last night's heats, albeit they were over a rather short 1,800 metres, and the final, of course, steps up to 2,560. I think it really showed that this series is wide open now, Bruce.
OK, the market. Now, our Sir Vancelot we didn't talk about. He had no luck in the last heat. The market, Iroquois still favourite, which you can argue with, can't you? I mean, whether our Sir Vancelot or Quantum Lobel should be. What were the major changes last night?
Well, the major changes were that Iroquois eased out a half a point from 2-1 out to 5-2. Our Sir Vancelot remained steady. Anvil Star, Bruce, has come in a couple of points from 7-1 to 5-1. Quantum Lobel also trimmed up a point from 7s to 6s. Desperate Comment, well, he came in a point, but
should be shorter.
They're going to have to take notice of him soon, surely. Just looking at that market there, that's provided from Thornton Sportsbet over here, but I'd be betting around about 4-1 or 9-2 the field, really, Bruce. I just can't see. I think it's just reputation that's got Iroquois that short at the moment.
Yep, you might be dead right. Adam, thanks for that. Neil Donnelly will be on next week and you'll be back for the final.
I look forward to it. And the Trotters start their action in the second round of Pacers heats also on Wednesday night, Bruce.
Good on you, mate. Adam Hamilton. We've come to the end of the program. Don't forget about the afternoon update this afternoon at 5 o'clock. We'll see you next Sunday morning on Sports World.